Superdome in New Orleans this week for our USFL game between the Blitz and the Breakers, and beware of the upset possibility today. And Lynn Swann is a Pittsburgh Steeler, one of the great wide receivers of your generation, my young man. I know that you became impressed with Marv Levy's work at Kansas City.
I like him. He is a very confident man. He's a leader, and when you're building a program, you need to give them that kind of confidence. He also liked to run the football. In Kansas City, he employed as many as 3 running backs in the backfield at the same time. But during the 1983 season, as a radio announcer, he had a chance to scout preliminarily the first year of the USFL, and he came away with the determination that in order to win, you've got to throw the football. And so that's what he's done. And all the weight of throwing the football falls squarely on the shoulders of young Vincent Tobias Evans, number 8. He's a young man that's accustomed to the pressure of this game, and we talked to him earlier about his offense.
I think that the way that our offense is set up is that it's sort of geared toward the big play. It doesn't really put any undue pressure on me. I feel that I've got 10 other guys that are helping me out there, and if I can do my job adequately enough, hoping that they will do their job, things will work out in big plays.
Well, now, the operation of the Chicago Blitz franchise and the front office operation is, in effect, in the hands of the USFL as a league. In other words, the league is the guarantor now, with the question of ownership somewhat in disarray. In effect, the club is for sale, and they haven't been able to resolve some of the lingering debts. But Marv Levy's made a lot of changes on his defensive unit every week, and again this week there are new people.
Well, of course, his offense has been in the game every single time. The defense, frankly, just hasn't played well. They've made a lot of changes, and if they have any chance of winning today, the defense is just going to have to play, for the first time, a good, solid football game.
Well, they're up against a pretty tough customer in these New Orleans Breakers. You know, the Breakers had their first season under the ownership of George Matthews at Boston, but they just simply couldn't put the pieces together in Boston and seemingly make it work. So George Matthews sold the franchise to Joe Cannizzaro and other investors here in New Orleans. And under Dick Corey, who came here as the coach and general manager, they're off to a 4-0 start. And Dick Corey seems to have that touch about him. He's got playing coach, in effect, right there in Johnny Walton. But this is a ball club that's added some new people as well. And in particular, I think, Lynn Swann, the presence of tight end Dan Ross is meaningful.
You know, in Pittsburgh, we had a saying, make something happen. And that's exactly what Dan Ross does. He is consistent and he is threatening. He will cause the defense to double team him, which means someone has to be covered man-to-man, single coverage. When that happens, Johnny Walton, the quarterback, the coach on the field from Elizabeth City, takes charge. He is smart. He is consistent, has a good arm, doesn't make mistakes. He's only been sacked one time, great offensive protection. But the newest man on that team is number 22, Marcus Dupree. He's a 19-year-old kid who's got a lot of talent, already scoring 3 touchdowns, and he's on the sideline with our Mike Berry right now.
Glenn, 19 years old, just a year and a half out of high school. Marcus Dupree, you're going into your 3rd game as a pro. There's an awful lot of pressure on you. How are you dealing with that?
Well, I'm just going out there trying to do my best, just trying to contribute to the team. And, I'm just trying to do what God gave me best and just go from there.
How do you feel, the hamstring hurting?
Well, it's kind of still sore, and I'm going to try to give it a shot. And Coach said if I can't go, ain't no use of me pulling it and staying out the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. Back upstairs.
Ready to go. The Breakers won the toss. They will receive the football from the Chicago Blitz. And Kevin Seibel, a rookie out of Nebraska, will kick it off to Woodrow Wilson, who is from North Carolina State, had a couple of years with the Montreal Alouettes. Hanging kick that's going to be quite short, taken at the 13-yard line by Wilson. He breaks it on the outside and comes up across the 35. With Johnny Walton, who gave up the head coaching job at Elizabeth City College to come back and play pro ball. And he will have behind him Buford Jordan, a rookie, Mark Shalene, a rookie. Those are 2 big kids that can really hit you. Frank Lockett and Charlie Smith are the wide receivers. Up front, we'll set the big people for you in a moment. Here's the first play of the ball game from the 35, first down. Walton will put it up on first down. He goes to the short man. That's Jordan out of the backfield, and Jordan is hammered down right at the line of scrimmage. So good defensive play by the Chicago Blitz on that one. Here are the people up front who protect Johnny Walton. It's Bullard, Raymond, Roberts, and Roberts stepped in when 2 of their centers got hurt last week. We'll give you the Chicago defense in just a moment. Right now, it is 2nd down and 10 for the New Orleans Breakers. Just starting the ball game. side. Jordan, who is a 220-pounder from McNeese State, turns in a big play, crossing the 40 and out of bounds at the Chicago 38.
Look at the hole, Keith, that he gets on the left side. Number 67 is the center. Frank Roberts, number 65 is a guard. Gary Raymond, he just blows right through as they take the defensive lineman out and upfield. Now he's in the open field, and he's a good runner in the open field. He doesn't necessarily have the speed or the strength of Marcus Dupree or a great running back, but Buford Jordan is an elusive back once he gets into that secondary.
And Marcus Dupree now is in the ball game, replacing Jordan, who's out to catch his breath. So Shalene sets up as the blocking back for Dupree now. And it's first down from the 38, and Johnny Walton back to throw it. Whips his pass down to Lockett. Lockett makes the catch at the 23. Lockett had a big ball game last week for over 200 yards. And here's the blitz defense that has been beleaguered through much of the season. It's Taylor, Justice, Morgan, and Thornton, the defensive four up front. Linebackers, and they've been changing every week. Hayes, Kilkenny, and Kelly. And the secondary is Bryant, Livers, Wilcox, and Mike Fox. Mike Fox just coming over from the Los Angeles Express, and Tommy Wilcox just coming back from injury. Jordan is back in now. Nope, he's not. We got an extra wide receiver in the ball game. Shalene, the lone remaining back, as Dupree comes out on first down at the 23 of Chicago. And Johnny Walton swings it out to Shalene. Two blockers in front of him. Puts his head down and goes inside the 20 to the 19, and there's a penalty flag across the field.
Personal foul, head slap.
Personal foul. 79.
They said that it was a head slap on number 79. That's Bruce Thornton. And it is illegal for the defensive lineman to come up with the old NFL-style head slap to the offensive lineman. Very difficult to see, however.
The referee in today's ball game is Wesley Ward. Out of the Southern Defendant Association, Carl Paganelli from the Mission Intercollegiate Conference. All right, Jordan is back in now to join Shalene in the backfield, and the football is sitting just inside the 10 of Chicago as Walton rolls out and loops his pass out of bounds.
Playing a very simple man-to-man coverage here. Right there, he breaks behind the safety, and into the end zone, he's wide open, but the ball is already thrown. He doesn't get a chance to add to his touchdown tally.
So it is second down and goal to go, just inside the 10. Walton wants to throw. Into the corner and overthrow. Penalty flag again on the field.
That flag was thrown in the area of Dan Ross, number 86. Charlie Smith, number 85, was the intended receiver.
I got holding.
Well, it goes back to what you said a little while ago, Swanee, that Dan Ross is a very good athlete at that tight end position, and that drag play across the middle is particularly effective, so you really have to pay attention to it.
Absolutely.
Holding. 59 on the defense. First down.
So it is now first and goal inside the 5 near the 4. New Orleans with a great opportunity to start in its first possession. Give it to Shalene, and Shalene is met head on at the 3-yard line by the middle linebacker Tom Kilkenny, who came in as a rookie from Temple a week ago, played very well, and that time got his helmet right on Shalene's numbers. Now, Shalene is not a gimme. I'll tell you right now, he's a 230-pounder out of Nebraska, and he used to do about, 1,000 pounds on the leg sled. He's one of the best weightlifters I guess they've ever produced out of that lifting program at the University of Nebraska, and it's got to be one of the best in the country. All right, Dupree comes into the ball game to line up in the backfield behind Walton. Second down, goal to go from the 3. It figures Dupree gets it. He's got it. Slashes over the right side. Big man goes right down to the goal line. Marcus is playing right at 230 pounds, maybe a little over that, and playing with a sore hamstring.
When I saw him down on the sideline, I could swear that Marcus Dupree was a good 245 pounds. He is one of the biggest running backs I've seen, and fast for his size.
He can move.
It doesn't look like he's running that fast.
Well, his arrival, was pretty timely because they lost Richard Crump to the knee for the season, and they'd have been in trouble if the Dupree thing hadn't worked out for him. So it's 3rd and goal from just near the goal line. It's Dupree over the top. Touchdown.
Marcus Dupree, his hamstring may be bothering him, but here on this play, he doesn't have to accelerate, make the long strides. He just goes up to the center. Look how he gets the ball out in front of him. Sometimes a little dangerous, but he crosses the plane, scores a touchdown. I think that's his 4th on the season in 3 ball games.
Tim Mazzetti now with 49 straight extra points out of Joe Resnick's hole, makes it 50. That's on the scoring drive by the New Orleans Breakers. And it looks like the same kind of an offense we saw with the Boston Breakers a year ago, but you've got that hammer in there in Dupree, and he makes a difference.
Certainly does. That first pass that Frank Lockett caught was good for about 12 yards, but it was set up as a play-action pass off the fake ball handling to Marcus Dupree. Linebackers have to respect him, stay close to the line of scrimmage.
You saw them working on the hamstring of Dupree. Mazzetti kicks it off for New Orleans, and waiting to take it for Chicago. Jim Stone out of Notre Dame. And Jimmy comes up across the 25, and he's up to about the 28. And so here's Chicago coming to the offense now. And at quarterback, they open with number 8, Vince Evans. He's the former Trojan out of USC, played 7 years with the Chicago Bears. Big, strong fellow who can throw it a mile. Behind him, you'll have Vegas Ferguson and Larry Canada, and they've both been around. And the wide receivers you saw there, Chris Haynes also coming over from having spent some time with Chicago. The big people up front, and I guess Mark Fisher would he'd be the only real rookie in that offensive front for Chicago's Blitz. So an 0-4 team that seems to have a lot of potential goes to work with Vegas Ferguson carrying the football from the 28 out to about the 31 for 3 yards. The defensive unit for the New Orleans Breakers, and they have been very effective. Mike Robinson, Jeff Gaylord, and Darrell Wilkinson, the 3 down linemen. The linebacking core is Needham, Marek, Gump, and Phillips, and they have played very well. And the secondary for New Orleans, Jones, Wilson, Harbison, and Resnick. And in particular, I think Charlie Harbison has developed as an outstanding professional football player in 2 seasons. 2nd down and 7. And Evans back to throw. Down the middle and throws it in the crowd. He's lucky to get it back. There were 2 blue shirts right there, and Marcus Marek almost picked it off. Now let's check in with Mike Barry and see if Marcus Dupree is going to be able to play anymore today.
Keith, he scored his fourth touchdown of the season. Didn't look like it bothered him, but it is hurting, isn't it?
Yes, it's hurting real bad. I don't know. I'm still debating should I go back in or not. But I think I'll give it another chance.
Well, possibly it's serious enough to keep you out.
Yeah.
Back upstairs.
Thank you, Mike. Glenn Ford now will line up in the backfield for the Chicago Blitz. He may be the fastest of the running backs. Vince Evans pulling the trigger on 3rd and 7. Straight back to throw. Little swing out to Ford, and Ford can't get to the marker as the Breakers defensive secondary people come in a hurry, led by Charles Harbison, the strong safety. So Harbison, number 42, got up there in a hurry.
Harbison made a fine tackle. He came up just in time to get a good hold on them to prevent him from dragging him towards the first down. Was able to hold on until they got help from the rest of the secondary. They stopped him a good 3.5 yards short of the first down.
And Jeff Gossett, the USFL's leading punter, comes into the ball game, averaging 42 plus on the season, and Woodrow Wilson goes deep, along with Bruce Miller, to accept the punt. So Chicago unable to pick up the first down in its first offensive possession, trailing in the ball game 7-0. And Gossett's kick is away. Hangs it up there pretty well. It doesn't really turn over for him. It is Wilson fielding and fumbling, and Chicago diving for it. And the Blitz look like they have it. But they don't. Well, 2 Chicago men had their hands on it and could not come up with a football. Here's another look at the replay on the fumble. You see all those white shirts around it? Look at that. And the ball comes out like it's got feet and walks right into the arms of a New Orleans breaker.
When a ball bounces on this flat AstroTurf, it can go almost any direction, and it goes with a great deal more velocity. So when it hits that way and the ball players are running, scurrying forward, they're excited. They sometimes don't get a good grip on the ball and bounces away from them.
So it's a bad break for Chicago, a good break for New Orleans. They go to work from their 34, first down. And Johnny Walton trying to cash in a hurry, goes down the middle with it. The pass is completed to Dan Ross. And Ross, the tight end, is brought down at the Chicago 29.
In addition to New Orleans just having a lot of excellent talent in the skill positions, they're going against a Chicago defense that is trying to stay as simple as possible, not to make mistakes. They're playing simple zone defenses, so Johnny Walton calls a zone pass. He's got 3 people going deep, spreading out the secondary, then Ross just comes right down the numbers, and Walton leads him inside, away from the safety. Big play. Many teams will only run that zone pattern when they're behind, but it's a great play anytime in the ball game.
The Breakers trying to jump out to a big first quarter lead. On first down from the Chicago 29, ball is given off to Buford Jordan, and Jordan is hit. And he won't have more than a yard out of that, as the linebacking corps stepped in and held him. And it's second down and 9 from the Chicago 28. Ball is given off on a little draw play to Buford Jordan, and Jordan is inside the throw. Look at him hammer along. He goes all the way down to the 22 before Mike Fox can finally wrestle him out with some help from Tommy Wilcox.
Well, Fox had a hold of him. Wilcox had to come over and help, but he did a great job coming through the line, making tacklers miss. Jordan, again, not the fastest back on this team, but very elusive.
Jordan has 35 yards now on 3 carries. Shaleen is the lone remaining back. It's third down and 3. They'll put it up. He goes to the sidelines with it, and the pass is completed to Dan Ross. And Ross has the first down. He turned it back just beyond the marker, and it's first down at the 16.
One of the most valuable assets any offensive team can have is a possession ball player. That's a ball player that comes up, makes the catch for you on third down plays when the world knows he's going to be your primary target. That's Dan Ross. Nothing affects him. He's very quiet. He's a cool professional. He always performs well under pressure.
Johnny Walton now 5 out of 6 for 61 yards in this first quarter of play with 6:50 to go. And it goes to Shaleen, and Shaleen gets hammered by Kilkenny, but he is so strong, he forces his way across the 15 to the 14. Jordan and Shaleen now, 24 and 25, are set up behind Walton on second down and 8. Johnny gets it off into the corner, and Jordan throws it down, touchdown. Well, you said it. Johnny Walton will pick you apart.
That's exactly what he's done. That's a 14-yard touchdown for Jordan. He came in the ball game with 5 catches for 100 yards. Not too much to it. He just simply comes out of the backfield, heads towards the sideline. Look at the way the ball just threaded the needle between number 59, Ken Kelly, and 25, Tommy Wilcox. Great pass.
Restic holds it. Mazzetti kicks it through. Here's another look at the second touchdown for New Orleans. As Len said, relatively simple. And actually, the coverage wasn't that bad.
The coverage was not bad. He has 2 people close. The ball's just thrown high enough where the linebacker, Kilkenny, can't get over the top, and far enough and with enough power to it so that Wilcox can't make a play for it.
So the Breakers will kick it off, and Glenn Ford is the deep man for the Chicago Blitz. 14-0 New Orleans, 6:03 to go first quarter. Mazzetti puts it up in the air high, and it's Ford. Glenn looking for some daylight on that side of the field, and a decent return. He comes out to close to the 30-yard line. It's kind of interesting watching him. Buford Jordan just got up and walked away, but Johnny Walton was terribly sophisticated under the circumstances, but Buford couldn't help it. He had to wave.
Johnny Walton's been in this situation many times. There's Buford.
Okay, it's Chicago's ball. They trail 14-0. The ball is just short of the 30. You've got 5:45 to play, and the clock running now as Vince Evans comes up. And the Blitz, in their first possession, had 3 plays and punted. And in motion, Marcus Anderson, penalty flag goes down, probably got motion on Chicago. The pass thrown down the middle and slapped away. Fine defensive play by Woodrow Wilson, who used great foot speed to catch up to Marcus Anderson and knock it away.
Marcus Anderson looked like he would have caught that pass and gone in for a touchdown, but Wilson just got there at the last second and was able to tip it away. I believe if Anderson had known he was coming across and would have gotten there in time, he may have gone up for that pass to catch it at a little higher point instead of waiting for it to come down to him. Taking a look here at number 86, Gary Lewis, you see that motion right there. Once you're set, you can't move.
The Blitz have now been flagged 3 times in the first quarter for 20 yards in penalties. And they move them around again. And Chris Haynes going to the top of the picture. Now they bring Ford back toward the line of scrimmage and want to sweep it this way, give it to Larry Canada. And Canada gets it up to about the 27. Here's Dan Ross now with Mike Berry.
Dan, you certainly haven't lost any of your touch from the NFL.
Well, it's fun. It really is. We have a great team here in New Orleans, and the players, great bunch of guys, and it's great to be 4-0, and hopefully we'll be 5-0.
Dan Ross is healthy. Marcus Dupree is not, and neither is linebacker Bill Gomp. He has strained inside knee ligaments. It's iced down. He may not be back. Keith?
All right, thank you, Mike. Ball is just beyond the 27. So call it second down and about 12. Evans to pass it. A little swing goes out to Canada. Canada gets some blocking help on the corner. And he is going to be short of his first down. So they'll be looking at 3rd and short as the Blitz come up for the next snap. Among the other games being played today, this one, the Washington Federals, hapless ball club so far this season, trailing New Jersey in the second quarter 7-0 as Seif has thrown 4 yards to Herschel Walker. New Jersey losing their first game last week, and Houston running into that buzzsaw called the Gamblers down there.
As we come up to this 3rd down play, Keith, both teams are quite close in 3rd down efficiency. Chicago Blitz is 46% successful, while New Orleans is 46.3, so they have a good shot at making this based on past tendencies.
Canada running for it, and he won't get, well, maybe that second effort may get it for him. The linesmen have marked him just over the 40, and that's enough.
He was stopped at the 39-yard line, and like you said, his second effort, he just kept pushing to get the extra inches, what amounts to more like an extra yard and a half on that play, which is the difference in this team getting the first down. Look at the defense here. The linebackers are coming up. You see them, they spot the running play. And he is going to get hit right there behind his own people, and he's grabbed from behind. And watch him just keep going. He knows he's got to struggle up beyond that line for the first down, and he just has enough leg and upper body strength to pull it off.
Came over from Denver. Evans back on first down. Goes to the sideline, has a man over there wide open. That is Gary Lewis, the tight end, and Lewis steps out of bounds at the New Orleans 40, and now the Blitz move over to the other side of the field.
If the Blitz have really any chance of winning this ball game, they're going to have to do it on the arm of Vince Evans and with offensive power. They have to keep marching the ball down the field.
3.5 minutes to go, first quarter. That's Marcus Anderson in motion, and Evans looks for it, throws it, hits Lewis, the tight end, big guy. He's down to about the 31 before he's brought down. Lewis is a big target. He came out of Texas Arlington to Green Bay for 3 years, 6'5", 225 pounds. It's a drag play across with the tight end.
See him there fighting off across the number 52, Phillips, just to get into the secondary. Makes a good catch, turns it upfield.
On 2nd and 1, Evans might try to go deep here. Nope, going for his first down. Gives it to Canada, and Larry hits it down to the 26, and the Blitz have another first down.
Of course, at 2nd and 1, that was a prime opportunity to go deep, knowing that if you don't make it, you still have the big back.
Little delay, Evans back, trying to set up a screen, gives it to Canada. He's got some help, finds a little hole, goes inside the 20 to the 19. So they hid the play very well and set it up well.
They set the play up very well. Number 65, left guard, Glenn Hyde, was blocking on Ben Needham on the outside. Needham just stood him up, stood there long enough, waited for the back to come to him, then shed the block and got in on the tackle.
Both the quarterbacks getting off to a good start here in the first quarter. Evans is now 5 out of 6, 47 yards. Walton 6 out of 7 for 75 yards. Ball is on the 19 of New Orleans, where it's 2nd down and 3. And this time the ball is given off to Ferguson. Vegas Ferguson goes for the first down as he pounds his way down to about the New Orleans 12. And so this is the kind of an offense that Marv Levy likes.
Likes to keep the ball on the ground. Vegas Ferguson did a good job for him that time, getting downfield, picking up blocks from number 80, Marcus Anderson, and from the pulling guard, 65, Glenn Hyde. That time, when they came to the line of scrimmage, the New Orleans Breakers inside the 20 decided to blitz, and they paid the price for it.
Less than a minute to go in the first quarter. On first down for Chicago at the New Orleans 12. It sharply, incomplete. He hit Chris Haynes right on the numbers in front, and Woodrow Wilson hit Chris Haynes right on the numbers in the back, and the ball came out.
Other than taking an interception and running it back for a touchdown against the opponent, there is nothing more enjoyable to a defensive back than hitting a receiver knowing he's got the ball in his hands and knocking it loose. That is what you call the intimidation factor. He feels now he's got it going for him. He wants that receiver to think about it the next time he comes out there.
2nd down and 10 from the Breakers 12 with 37 seconds to play in the first quarter. Blitz is on, pitch is outside. Canada running for the corner, dragged down about the 7. Coming over to make the play is Kyle Whittingham out of BYU. He is the inside linebacker on the left side, number 54. They need about 4.5 yards to get a first down. And a little over 6 yards to score the first touchdown. Evans quickly into the end zone. Hits Marcus Anderson and touchdown.
Well, it's the same play that Marcus Anderson couldn't hold on to earlier. This time he makes a catch in front of number 23, Lindell Jones from Hawaii. We'll take another look. There's nothing fancy about it. He's got single coverage. He just runs down, gets good position on the inside. Lindell Jones just really gave him too much of a cushion. When you're down close to the end zone, you can't back up into the end zone because he just crosses the line. It's a touchdown, so you want to stay close. You want to force him one way or the other. Lindell Jones gave him inside. He also gave him outside on that play.
Jeff Gossett will hold. Kevin Seibel will try to go 8 for 8 in extra points. Kevin hits the ball straight on. It is up, and it is good.
New Orleans, 2 possessions, just really marched down the field, scored on both of them. The only way that Chicago can stay in this ball game is to offensively match them stride for stride. Offensively, the New Orleans team has averaged 8.3 yards per play. And if you're going to stay in this ball game, you have to cut that down for sure.
Seibel's kickoff is very short. It is picked up by Anthony Steeles out of Nebraska, but the ball hung up long enough that Steeles really never had a chance to get it going, and he's brought down just short of the 24 by Victor James. And now the Breakers will come up, and the pressure at this juncture would have to be on the Chicago Blitz defensive people who have not been able to stop them. And the ball off to Buford Jordan. Jordan goes inside, bounces outside, and comes out of it with about 10 yards. Right now, here's Mike Barry again, this time with the Chicago quarterback, Vince Evans.
Vince, you mounted a super drive there. Were they doing anything, New Orleans, to help you to pick them apart?
Nothing other than what we anticipated. You know, they're a very aggressive football team. We anticipated that they would really come after us. Right down in the scoring territory, they had a safety blitz on, and I audibled to the quick slant. It worked out for a touchdown for us.
You're looking for that blitz?
Absolutely.
All right, Vince.
Johnny Walton unloads it deep, and it is thrown too far.
Keith,
loaded up that top of the picture, didn't he? That wide receivers all up there.
Keith, I think that was a play that was sent in by some fan. He said something wide, something spread far out with Johnny Walton throwing the football. He had half of his offensive line split to the right side, like A screen was being set up, then took the snap, looked for a receiver downfield, but he was covered, so he wisely threw it away.
That's a modified version of the old swinging gate.
Is it?
Where you line up one in the center, and then everybody else gets over there, and then you see that once in a while. Ball is sitting up on the just outside the 32, and it's 3rd down and a yard for the Breakers. New Orleans leading 14-7 here in the second quarter. And Walton back to throw on 3rd and short. He's going downfield to bail, tight end, no good. Penalty flag. Oh my. One official was looking right at it. He didn't flag it. The official coming up the sideline flagged it.
Let's take a look at it. It's 3rd and 1. They tried the trick play earlier. They only have 1 yard to go. Johnny Walton realizes they're looking for the short play. Right there you see the pass interference. He's grabbing him on the arm as he tried to go up for the pass. Wisely decided, I'll go for the big one. He does.
Pass interference, number 22 on the defense, 1st down.
Here's the play now that appears, we're guessing, was the one that was sent in by one of the Breaker boosters. See them up there at the top. Walton, instead of going for the screen, I think Johnny just loaded it up and threw it away, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so. There were some people out there on that screen, and he figured, what the heck? He was going to have a 3rd and 1 when it's over.
Walton back on 1st down. Goes downfield. Passes complete to Charlie Smith. Smith caught it in the crowd. Obviously, the New Orleans Breakers and Dick Torrey and his coaching staff believe they can attack the secondary of the Chicago Blitz, and they're just humming away on them.
They certainly are. They're throwing short and they're throwing long. Charlie Smith, out of Grambling, smart, cagey receiver. He is a man that's responsible for really educating the young receivers on this team, showing them way. It's just a zone pass. He gets in between the corner and a linebacker who is shadowing him, makes a real good catch. He needs concentration here. He has to slow down just a bit. You see him, he goes up in the air just in case someone's coming across the top to knock it down. Hangs onto the ball. He's hit once on the side. Then number 56, Clinton Hayes, a linebacker.
So it looks like they're going to stick it in the end zone again. Come away with some kind of points. There's Haynes leading. And here we go with Walton on 1st down. Double wide, bottom of the picture. It's pitched out to Jordan, penalty flag. You may have had some movement on New Orleans. I think you might get a procedure call. Providing more openings, everybody assumes that the price will go down when the New Orleans Saints lease expires and they renegotiate for the new one if they choose indeed to stay here. It's down to the 15-yard line on the carry by Buford Jordan on 1st down and 15, so he's picked up the better part of 3 yards on that play. Blitz trying to hold him off. Charlie Smith, Marion Brown, and Frank Lockett. And Brown is activated because Nolan Franz, who was leading the club in receiving and led him in receiving last year, is injured and can't play. Johnny Walton on a deep drop. Man comes back to the ball and makes the catch at the 1. It is Marion Brown, the young man who got a chance to play coming off the developmental squad last week when Nolan Franz was hurt. He makes another big catch.
Charles Armstead, who is all over him. He's a rookie out of Illinois. Walton just loads this one up, fires it with everything, throws it towards the sideline low. Watch him stretch right here. He makes the catch, both feet in bounds. Excellent catch.
And it's 1st and goal, New Orleans at the Chicago 1. Jordan, penalty flag as Jordan dives for the goal line.
Marv Levy standing there in the middle. Obviously frustrated with his defense. This is the 3rd possession by the New Orleans Saints.
Given grudgingly. Might look for Saline here. Over the top, and Saline is hit at the top and knocked back. Boy, I remember in one Sugar Bowl game down here between Penn State and Alabama, it was 78, coming off the 78 season. When Penn State's down here with Mike Booman and Matt Suey, And they went just like that, tried to go over the top, bury Krause and the Alabama people, and Krause hits Gooman one time and knocked himself out, but he stopped him at the top, one of the great goal line stands.
And the goal line stands, when you have, whether it's at midfield or at the goal line, the most important thing, of course, is the offensive surge or the defensive surge. The defensive line is trying to penetrate, plug everything up, with the linebackers protecting the outside, looking for the sweeps.
Go to the I formation now. That may mean Buford will have a little more room and might slant this one. He is going to run for the corner. Got a great block from Chalene. Tremendous block from Chalene, and walks into the end zone. Boy, Chalene took two of them.
Chalene came up on number 27, Mike Fox, and just hit him, knocked him back. Watch Buford. He gets the ball. Now he's just following Chalene, eyeing him. Wherever he takes his man, he will follow that right there. He knocks him back to the goal line. He waltzes in untouched.
So that's Jordan's first rushing touchdown. He's got two in the game, having caught a pass a few minutes ago. And Mazzetti is now 52 for 52 at extra points. And with 11:27 to play in the first half, the New Orleans Breakers. Hanging kick inside the dome, goes down to 4 to the 9. And he's back to about the 29. That's Lewis, the tight end, shuffling out of the backfield now and coming up into alignment as a tight end. And the handoff goes inside to Vegas Ferguson. And Ferguson's out to about the 31 for a couple of yards.
Number 92, Mike Robinson, the right end. He was a man that came around the outside and made the tackle. The coaches are very high on this young man out of Arizona. I think he has the makings of a great defensive end, man who can put pressure on the pass, also handle the line of scrimmage on the run. So he may be very active, maybe calling his name quite a bit this afternoon.
Second down and 8, just outside the 31 for Chicago. Looking down the middle, runs away from the pressure. He's got good wheels. And Vince Evans gets up across the 40 for a first down for Chicago.
Johnny, they really made you work for that last drive. The first two, your pinpoint pass, you moved it right down the field. But was the defense doing anything against you on that last drive?
Well, they tried to double team some of my receivers. So, you know, it takes a little while longer, but we're trying to stick with our game plan and do the best we can.
Working so far.
Well, we can continue to move the ball and get points on the board because they have a good offensive team, and they can put points on the board also.
From the 41, first down for Chicago, and the handoff goes to Ford this time, and Glenn Ford picks up about 8 as he moves it up to the 49.
Take a look here at the defense. In the middle is Marcus Merrick. You see he gets taken on by number 62. That's Hartnett. I was sitting there thinking I could not say the man's name.
Second down and 2 for Chicago from their own 49. And it's Canada. Larry Canada has the first down and then some, as he just keeps on beating on people and takes the football down to the New Orleans 41. Finally, Charles Harbison was able to wrestle him down. Harbison's out of Gardner Webb, the 195-pounder and a hitter. Marcus Anderson, number 80, moved to the other side of the field by his quarterback. And Evans back to throw. Good protection all day. Good coverage downfield. Now gets it off, and it is incomplete. That ought to get a flag. No, it doesn't. I thought he might have arrived a little soon. Woodrow Wilson went right up the back of Marcus Anderson.
When the ball got there were 3 people waiting for it. It's a very dangerous pass.
Second down and 10. Little dump off on a screen for Canada, and it's going to work for a first down to the 30-yard line of New Orleans. And we're told now that Bill Gump, linebacker for the Breakers, torn ligaments in the knee, and he's going to be gone for a while.
Should be gone with torn ligaments for the rest of the season.
You would think. It's a big loss. He was the left inside linebacker, fine player from Utah. Ball is sitting square on the 30, and Vince Evans has now passed 1,000 yards in passing for the season, 1,002. Jim Stone now is in the backfield, number 42. With Glenn Ford moving up into a slot back position. Blitz on. They hold him out pretty well. Evans lofts it up for Lewis. He's got it. And Lewis, the tight end, steps out of bounds at the New Orleans 9. First and goal, Chicago.
And Lewis is a little hurt on that play. Evans really did just loft that ball up in the air. He had time. He looked downfield, checked all his receivers, then found Lewis drifting towards the sideline. A lot of touch in this ball. Lewis on the other end has a cushion. He's backing up, waiting for it to come down. And right here you see Lindell Jones comes up and he makes the hit. Hits him hard enough to knock him 3 yards to the sideline.
Canada and Ford in the backfield behind Evans. Keith McGee, an added wide receiver. Vince Evans finds a little hole, starts running, fakes it, turns it back. Going to get some help now. Now if he finds somebody to throw it to, does in the end zone. Touchdown! Pass is caught by Mark Keogh.
Well, you see Keogh came down pretty hard on the football when he made the catch. He may have knocked the wind out of himself, but they talk about the mobility of a quarterback. Quarterbacks don't really have to run. But if you can, look what you can do. Vince Evans is scrambling for his life. He is going to cause this receiver to come open just by waiting long enough, reversing his field. He's getting excellent protection from his offensive line. All the coaches feel the offensive line is the strongest part of this Chicago team until Keogh comes wide open in the end zone. He fires one, he makes a catch. The second team, all USFL tight end in 1983, comes up with a good diving catch.
He's still down.
He is still down.
Keogh, who had trotted off the field, having gotten the wind back inside his body, seems to be all right. Now we're coming up for the extra point try. Straight ahead kicker, Simon. And he punches it through. So with 6 minutes and 42 seconds to play in the first half, it is New Orleans 21 and Chicago 14. And another look at the scrambling touchdown play, Evans to Keogh.
Keogh just came down very hard. When you're running around waiting for that quarterback and he throws it and it zips in and you're laying out for it, like you said, that ball coming in on your stomach, you're landing on it, a number of things can happen. Most often it is you get the wind knocked out of you. And right here, that's exactly what happens. As he lays out, the ball hits him right in the sternum or in the stomach, forced all the wind out of his lungs. But Mark Keogh, shaking it off, will be back.
Here's what's happened for the Breakers now as they accept the kickoff with Woodrow Wilson taking it at the 11. Dancing around, and he's caught from behind and dragged down around the 21-22. But you can see they have started with pretty good field position each possession, and they just simply boomed it. So they go to work now with the one back in the offensive alignment. That would be Shalene, the fullback. They're double wide, and Johnny Walton back to throw. Looks for Lockett, swings to Shalene, get around the corner, and get something out of it, though he took a considerable pounding. Tom Kilkenny the tackle. Here's Mark Keogh now with Mike Berry.
Mark, that play looked like something out of a Max Sennett car chase in the old black and white movies. Tell me, was that in the playbook or what?
Well, yeah, we call it our scramble roll, and we work on it, and Vince keeps moving, the receivers keep moving, and it paid off.
You landed on the football awfully hard. Ever done that before?
No, I haven't. I landed on it and knocked all my wind out. I was kind of scared because I was breathing and air wouldn't come back.
He's okay now, Keith, and he's happy.
He's a good football player, too. I saw him many times at Arizona. Outstanding football player. Shalene got a couple of yards. Second down and 8. Here comes again, and running this time in the neighborhood where he likes to run and where he perhaps is the most effective, just up the middle, and he picks up about 4. The Jacksonville Bulls taking a 3-0 lead over the Los Angeles Express in the second quarter of play. That game is out in the Coliseum in Los Angeles.
Of course, Matt Robinson not playing in that ball game.
Lindy Infante having trouble getting his team going after a tremendously exciting game that we saw between the Bulls and the New Jersey Generals. Here's Walton now. Johnny loops it to the sidelines. There's a penalty flag down as Dan Ross pulls in the pass. Good for a first down, but there are two flags back there, and I expect you might have a little holding.
And Ken Kelly, with the number 59, the linebacker, was yelling at the official.
All right, let me see what we got over here.
Now you see the left side of the screen. There's number 78, Frankie Smith, as he blocks right there. See if we can pick up the holding there. Hey, just got that arm, got him on the back, pulling him down a little bit, trying to protect Walton.
Holding, number 78 on the offense. Third down.
On the 19 now, where it is third down and 13 for New Orleans with 4:36 to go in the first half. The Breakers spend a timeout. Now it's third down and 13 for the New Orleans Breakers after their conference. Concerning what play or series to use here, they work out of the shotgun. And Walton goes down the middle, and Charlie Smith can't hold on. It's just a little bit too high for Charlie.
Just a little bit too high. He had good position on that play on number 21, Trent Bryant. She came across, grabbed the football and hold on to it. Last week, this team completed a third down play of 3rd and 37. This time, they just can't make it.
Casarino comes in to punt, and I think that's a bit of an upset right there. It's the first punt of the day for the New Orleans Breakers. Dario Casarino hits it from the 9. Turns it over. Donnell Daniels circles back to the 35, gets a block, and comes back to the 42. 42-yard line. Chicago's ball. Canada, the lone remaining back behind Vince Evans, and he's got the ball, pops it over the left side. And a big day for Larry. Marcus Merrick brings him down up on the 48. So he picked up 6.
Both the New Orleans Breakers having to punt for the first time in this ball game. If the Chicago Blitz can go down and score, they will have evened out the number of possessions. Well, actually, they have one more possession than New Orleans, but if they can go down and score, they will have scored 3 times in a row and could even up this ball game.
Second and 4. Evans swings it out to Canada, cuts it back against the grain, and does not get back to the line of scrimmage. Lewis is back in at tight end now. McGee to the top of the picture. From the end zone, we look at it. Evans whips it, and it is good for a first down at the New Orleans 41. Coming away with it, Marcus Anderson, the former Greenie from Tulane.
That is not an easy pass to catch, although it's much more difficult for a defensive back to try and pick it off. Receiver's got to get his whole body down, catch that ball.
Coming up on the 2-minute mark, which will amount to a timeout for the Blitz if they get the play off. And they just do. Give it to Canada, and he breaks it big over the left side and runs for a first down to the New Orleans 29. One of Larry Canada's best days. And there's your 2-minute warning. It comes at 1:54 to play in the first half. The Blitz moving the football. Canada and Ford line up behind Evans as Lewis shifts over into the tight end spot. And Vince Evans will put it up on first down. Quick pop for Anderson. Can't hold on. He took a lick just as the ball arrived from Lindell Jones. Larry Canada gets out downfield, gets the first down as he runs all the way to the 16-yard line of New Orleans. And the clock now always stops, remember, in USFL like it does in college when the chains are moved on a first down play. A lot of time, 1:41, as Vince Evans brings him up on first down. 2 tight ends are in there now. Comes Glenn Ford slanting over the right side, and he's down near the 12. So if they do mark him down at the 12. Dick Corey yelling for a turnover here. They could use it. The ball is just short of the 12.
Number 56, Marcus Merrick, out of Ohio. He was a linebacker that was just kind of edging up close to that line, and just where he lined up and shot at the line almost like a blitz is exactly where the yards were picked up on the last play.
Picked up 3, second down and 7. Blitz is on. Evans gets it away into the corner. No. Pass intended for Chris Haynes.
The receiver reads it. He knows that ball is going to be coming very quickly. You see here, Vince sees a blitz. It's not picked up. He gets the ball away. That receiver has got to make that quick move, get to the outside so he can see the ball. Here he sees it. He goes down for the ball. His body just not in a comfortable position to make the catch.
It is third down and 7. Haynes turned it inside. Evans threw it outside. It is fourth down. The punter, Gossett, does the holding. A lot of leg. And the kick is good. So at 51 seconds to go, the Chicago Blitz pick up 3, and it's now 21-17. Here's the kickoff by Seibel. Knuckleball, it goes back to the 7 for Bruce Miller. And Miller comes back up across the 20. Joe Canizaro, the owner of the Breakers, has had a lot to do with it as a developer. So here's first down for Walton out of the shotgun. They hand it off to Shalene, and Shalene can't get much out of it, maybe a yard. As could be the last snap. His pass is good to Charlie Smith, and Smith is rolled down at the 40, so that'll stop the clock on the first down as they move the chains, and we'll give them one more snap.
You want to go a deuce, 989 seam wide, or you just want to go a formation, 949, let Frank try and outrun one? Huh?
They changed their defense.
It's cover 2. It's been like a prevent, but it's a cover 2 with guys deep. You probably got one play. Want to go Geronimo? Just go to 949, huh? How about a hitch and lateral? How about a hitch and lateral? Let's cover that. Just play 4D. How about 787 and try to stop the clock? If they, maybe they'll grab time. Yeah. That or 949, throw it up. Seam, you want seam wide? 747, not bad. Okay. The way they're playing is the 4 deep. If the 7 guy goes into the safety, it may throw him out. All right. Time out.
One timeout left. Well, folks, that was a conversation between 3 coaches and their quarterback on the sideline. And if you know what they're going to do next, you ought to be a coach. We'll sign you up right now. All you heard were numbers, calling out the different plays. They sound like different types of airplanes. That's because they're probably all passes.
There's Keith Rowan involved in that, too, I'm sure, on the headset.
He was a tall guy in the middle. I played against him when he was a player for the Cardinals over at Stanford.
Walton fumbles the ball, and that takes all of the mystery out of the decision. So the snap was low, coming back to Johnny Walton.
If they have 13 offensive offside penalties, they could actually score.
Throws it as far as he can, and Lockett going after it. He caught it! He caught it! He's down inside the 5. He didn't score, but it's an incredible catch by Lockett. The half is over, but that's incredible.
It was just a last grab, a last shoestring tackle by number 27, Mike Fox, that saved a touchdown with 1 second to go in the ball game. Everyone anticipating it. 57 yards on this play, but the most spectacular thing is the way he goes up in the air over the back of number 47, Charlie Armstead, to make this catch. He stays in bounds, and he's on his way, except for that last effort tackle. Oh, save the touchdown.
Lockett had 225 yards last week against Jacksonville, and he came up with a truly tremendous play as Johnny Walton simply threw the ball just as far as he could.
In 9 years of professional football, I have to tell you, I've only had a game where the most I ever caught in yards was 196. To catch over 200 yards in one game, you have to have a phenomenal day, and some of those are taken back. Lockett now has 2 catches for 72 yards. Look at this. He is a big receiver. Out of Nebraska, great deal of work in the weight room. He looks big enough to be a linebacker.
Mazzetti will kick it off, and Chicago will have the first possession to start the second half. New Orleans 21, Chicago 17. Glenn Ford is deep. That's a good kick by Mazzetti. Runs 40 yards deep in the end zone where he fumbles the football, and we'll leave it there. So it'll be first down, Chicago Blitz, out on the 20. If that ball had come squirting out of the end zone with him, he'd have had a problem, wouldn't he? We'll have his tight end, Gary Lewis, shift out. Chris Haynes comes to the bottom of the picture. Marcus Anderson goes to the top. With Ferguson and Canada lined up behind him, and it is Ferguson for a yard.
They come out very conservative. Number 54, Kyle Whittingham, makes the tackle.
Gotta hurry. Well, he looked downfield. He saw he did not have time to call his signals and get the play in motion, and so they have to literally waste a timeout. Gave their opinion to Dick Torrey, the coach of the Breakers, and he said the crease through for the Breakers. So we'll see. It's second down and 9 for Chicago from their own 21. Evans on a deep drop, trying to set up a screen for Canada. They get some help on it, but not a whole lot, as Larry gets up just over the 25. Ben Needham and Marcus Merrick, the right side linebacking core, making the tackle. McGee, Anderson, and Haynes, 3 wide receivers in. It is third down and 4. The pass to the sidelines, good for a first down. Thrown to the 39 and caught by Marcus Anderson.
Great execution of the basic down-and-out pass pattern by Marcus Anderson on number 23, Lindell Jones. Lindell Jones gives him a lot of room. Anderson drives him, backs him up, turns in front of him. Lindell Jones slips a bit. He comes to the sideline. He even has to wait a little bit for the ball, but because of the great cushion, he can make the catch. They'll give him his forward progress.
Both teams moving the ball well offensively. That's Canada over the right side. And he's up to the 44, close to it, close to 5 yards. Gaylord, nose tackle, big guy out of Missouri. Second down and about 6 for the Blitz. This is Glenn Ford, and he will not have his first down. He's going to be a yard, maybe 2 yards short of his first down.
Drop down where he'd been hit. The ball will be back, still at about the 45-yard line.
They need 2 yards to keep it on third down. Is incomplete, thrown behind the receiver. The intended receiver was, well, it's Hoppick who got his hands on it. The tackle, was he a tackle eligible on the play? I didn't see it. Wilson along with Bruce Miller. 2 men deep for New Orleans. Gossett has knocked it out of bounds, killed it inside the 27 times this season for the Blitz. He spins it up, and Wilson watches it and watches it go out of bounds. And now it depends on the spot. It will be inside the 20. Here's that third down alignment for the Chicago Blitz. It would appear that number 74, Hoppick, had lined up in the position closest to the camera. That would make him an eligible receiver after the officials had been notified, and that's exactly what it was. He broke downfield. Now, Evans has to run for his life here.
Under a tremendous rush there, but he gets away, and he finds Hoppick downfield, but he throws just a bit behind it.
Leading by 4 points here in the third quarter. 10:55 to play. And number 3. Ball given off to Mark Shalene. And the rookie out of Nebraska runs out to the 19 to pick up 7 yards on that carry. A little over 7.
Tremendous average for an offensive team.
Jordan becomes the I-back in this alignment. With Charlie Smith in motion, it goes to Jordan. Good blocking on the corner, but support help from number 47 in particular, Charles Armstead, and Ken Keller, the outside linebacker. So it's a first down for the Breakers. Ball is out near the 22 as Johnny Walden sets up a little quick one to the sidelines, intended for Shalene out of the backfield. Lockett and Smith wide. There's a little draw play with Jordan, and it works again as he runs it out to the 29. Picked up about 7 yards on the carry.
To keep the defensive team during a game aware of their versatility on offense.
Watch him holding the tight
That's
end.
Keith Rowan.
Watch him holding.
Standing next to Corey, who's the offensive coordinator.
2 out of 3 on third down today against Chicago. Walton's pass to the sidelines is caught by Dan Ross for the first down. John Gillen brought him down.
Well, he didn't go very far. He was still on the field, making his presence felt, causing the defensive team to make changes in their coverage, taking 2 people even though he wasn't running a route, even though the ball wasn't coming to him, I should say.
But Dan played at Northeastern. Of course, that's George's alma mater. Very active alumnus for Northeastern. Here comes Jordan. Penalty flags are thrown as Jordan crosses the 40 and runs it up to about the 42, but let's see about the penalty. Holding on New Orleans, number 65, Jerry Raymond.
All right, going to take it back. All right.
Won that deal with Dan Ross. You know, he wanted to play in New England. He wanted to be in Boston. The team moved down here, and Joe Canizero, one of the stipulations in his contract.
Holding, number 65.
New Orleans averaging better than 7 yards on first down plays. This time it's first and 20. And that's Buford Jordan. And the rookie out of McNeese State keeps on running, doesn't he? All the way to the 43, 44 maybe.
Watch number 79, Bruce Thornton at the top. He just runs himself out of a play. He doesn't have to be blocked. So that frees up number 78, Frankie Smith, to go on downfield to make another block. And then the rest of it is just Buford Jordan. People are trying to hit him. They can't hold on to him. And that's been one of the things said about this Chicago Blitz team, is that they cannot consistently make the tackles.
He picked up 16 yards at second down and 4. Jordan now totals 71 yards running in the ball game. And it's Shalene. Somebody grabbed him by the face mask. Oh, you got a face mask call coming up against Chicago. I think it was Thornton that reached out and inadvertently grabbed the face mask. First down and 15 from their own 45, and they lead 21-17. Walton down the middle for Ross. He's got it. Dan Ross makes the catch at the 31 of Chicago. A circus catch in front of Donnell Daniel.
Well, the only thing Donnell Daniel could do is hit Dan Ross after he made the catch. And while he was falling down, if Dan Ross had been able to catch this with his feet in the ground, he might still be running. Zone pass right down the middle. Dan Ross makes an excellent catch. That's his 4th catch on the day for 75 yards. Didn't do much in the second quarter, but right now, at the beginning of the third, he is doing everything he can.
Shalene is back in. Blitz, show blitz, and then the linebackers drop. Safety in the corners settle back, and Walton's pass to the corner. No. Intended for Lockett. Frank yells for help.
Bishop didn't call pass interference on him.
Yeah, because the defensive man had turned back to the ball. If he'd have continued to face guard him, he might have gotten the flag, but he didn't. He turned back into the ball. So it is second down and 10 from the 31 of Chicago. This is Buford Jordan. Good cut. And it's the cut that made the play for a first down at the 20.
It's David Boyle when he comes back from his crackback position. He gets position there. Buford's got the ball. Jordan's got the ball as he turns upfield. Number 59, Ken Kelly, was completely taken out of the play by the crackback block.
So from the 20, it's first down New Orleans. This is Shalene in heavy traffic for a yard and a half inside the 19. On second down and 8.5. To the corner for Lockett, too long.
One of the reasons why Walton hasn't been sacked but one time this year, in addition to excellent protection by his offensive line, is that when he sees him, he's under pressure, he doesn't hang on to the football. He just gets rid of it. You can see there when he threw it under the pressure, he turned his back. He threw that ball hard enough to go in out of the end zone so that it would not be intercepted.
This is the 12th play in this possession by the Breakers. Third down, 8. Is away, pass is not good. Charlie Smith trying to come up with it off the turf down near the goal line, but they whistle it off immediately, and there's a flag thrown back up around the 20.
He did tip the ball partially.
I've got ineligible downfield this way. Look at that.
Offsetting penalties.
Take a look at Thornton here at the top of the screen, and watch him just go around the outside here. Makes a great move on number 78, Frankie Smith, to get to the outside. And watch Walton's arm. Watch his arm reach out. Just barely missed tipping that football.
But you had holding defense. Mazzetti warming up on the sideline. Out of the shotgun, Walton's pass is caught for a first down by Charlie Smith inside the 5. Ball came loose, but he is called down at the 4.
Of the Chicago team, and letting Walton know that he was going to be open, but he came downfield, simple little hook pattern, he turns around, he's wide open, but watch the punishment he takes. He's got the ball, they hold him up there, then watch the hit he takes from behind. Right there. That's the kind of hit that'll give you a back injury for a long time, Keith.
Walton to throw it, Ross in the corner, one-handed grab, he ran out of real estate. For 73 yards for the Breakers. Ross 4 for 75, and Lockett 2 for 72. One of them that spectacular play to end the first half.
Keith, when you have a great athlete in the field, you always give him the opportunity to do what he can do. To go up, make the tough catch, make the great effort, even when he's got good coverage. You throw the ball high, you think, and have the confidence that he can come down with the football. Walton has that confidence in Dan Ross.
Second down and goal for the Breakers. Walton looking to throw again, goes for Anthony Steele, and it is slapped down by number 93, keeping New Orleans out of the end zone. They will be very much in this ball game. Ross in motion, he's in the end zone, he's looking for him, he throws, he got it! A catch!
What a superb catch by Dan Ross. He has done it consistently throughout this ball game. In the air, diving, falling on his back. Watch here as he comes across in motion. He'll head upfield and then turn to the outside for this Johnny Walton pass. He's hit. Looks like he's falling down. He is falling down on his thighs as he reaches up for the touchdown. Mazzetti kicks the extra point, makes it good, and the New Orleans Breakers, the longest drive of the day, comes away with a touchdown. They were backed up consistently in this drive, facing a third down and goal situation. Mazzetti warming up for the field goal. Dan Ross comes across with the catch of the day for the touchdown in front of Donnell Daniel.
They gobbled up 7 minutes and 14 seconds in that possession, and now lead 28-17 in the USFL. So those are the games we'll have. New Jersey at Los Angeles and Tampa Bay at Philadelphia. Check your local listings. Here is the high kickoff by Mazzetti. Hangs up there for Ford. Glenn comes back with it across the 20. Breaks it to the 27, and down he goes.
That's scoring drive, 15 plays, 88 yards, 7 minutes and 14 seconds. The longest scoring drive of the day. Dan Ross catching 3 passes on that drive.
Evans pass deep for Haynes. And Haynes is going to get the call this time. It'll go against Woodrow Wilson. The only problem with that particular call in the USFL, remember, it does not go at the point of the foul.
But regardless of that, he still made the catch, and it's a good thing he did. Ball was bobbling. He maintained control. Vince Evans just winds up, throws it, and watch Haynes. He just runs down the field, bursts past the defensive back, gets the ball here. Now the ball would come back if it were pass interference, but the ball is still up, hasn't touched the ground.
Still right on his stomach.
And stays on his chest, his stomach, and he comes up with the catch. That's a difference in a 5-yard gain.
So it's marked down at the 27 of New Orleans. And Chris Haynes, who's been looking for a big play all day, finally gets it. And Evans will try to get it in the end zone now from the breaker 27 as he rolls it right and whips it down the middle and overthrows everybody. Here's Mike Perry now as Dan Ross continues to be the big story on the day for the Breakers.
I was standing down in the end zone, Keith, just right where he caught that ball. An incredible catch. Give us an instant replay. Tell me what. It looked like you were going down when you grabbed it.
Well, it was. I was in motion to make them shift their defensive coverage over, and as I made my break, I tripped on a defensive back's feet, and I seen the ball coming. I was just hoping I could stay up long enough to catch it.
You got a 2-week-old son. He'll be happy for this one.
Well, I think he's kind of young to be watching, but I'm sure proud.
That's one for the scrapbook upstairs.
Well, Mike, you tell him I hated him when he played in Cincinnati against us, but I admire his catches now.
Second down and 10, Chicago. Blitz need one here. Pass thrown out and caught. And falling down is tight end Gary Lewis. Tries to get up, but he's immediately pinned, and so it'll be third down. It's closer to 5 yards on third down. They're trying to run for it. Boy, I'll tell you, they get shut down in a hurry as Charles Harbison, the strong safety, came blitzing, read the play correctly, and just nailed Vegas Ferguson.
He met Vegas Ferguson. Look at the upper part of the screen. He's going to meet him in the backfield. It's a blitz he has going. He reads the play, doesn't run past the man with the ball. He meets him behind the line of scrimmage, square up before Vegas Ferguson can get any kind of steam going.
A 40-yard effort by Kevin Seibel. He's kicked one so far today, and he can't quite squeeze this one in. It's off to the left side. The Breaker defense holds. All right, New Orleans ball. They sit up on their 22. They lead by 11 points, and Charlie Smith goes in motion. And they give it to Buford Jordan, who's having a big day. Gets a block from Saline, comes around the corner to the 27. There he's hit by Tom Kilkenny, a rookie out of Temple. Second down and 5. From the 27, Walton lobs it over the middle. Jordan's got it, got a first down out at the 42. Brought down by Ken Kelly. So Johnny Walton just picking their bones in that secondary with the clock running down to 17. Anthony Steele's in the backfield, but Walton goes in the air for Lockett. Lockett's got it, and Lockett is down at the 21 of Chicago.
Did I say that the Breakers were going to get conservative and just run the football? I did, but here they don't show any signs of being conservative. An excellent post pattern as Charlie Armstead just gives him too much room. Frank Lockett takes the angle to the inside. Number 27, Mike Fox, comes over to help Charles in making the tackle. But Frank Lockett showing why his average is over 21 yards per catch so far in the season. 3 for 109. Today.
Shoot. Walton is now 17 out of 25 for 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Johnny gives this one away to Buford Jordan. Fumbles the ball out of bounds. New Orleans will keep it.
5 yards deep. He gets the ball on this draw. Look at the way he just picks his way on this draw set up by, of course, the passing game. He skirts to the outside, running parallel till he gets a little room. Then he tries to turn it upfield. The ball just slips out as number 22, Donnell Daniel, hits him.
It is 2nd down and 1 now for the New Orleans Breakers. Ball is at the Chicago Blitz 12. And the Breakers trying to break the back of the Blitz right here.
Infinite possibilities for Johnny Walton here. Only 1 yard for a first down.
Looking for Lockett, throws for Lockett. 3 wide people now as they put Brown in the ball game. Marion Brown. Up it goes, short. Ross down at 14. Donnell Daniel that time brought him down, a rookie out of Southern Illinois for Chicago.
Actually, he thought he was going to make a little move around Donnell. As he turned around, saw him in front of him, number 53, John Gillen, just came up from behind.
Third down and 3. Here goes Buford Jordan. And he's got the first down for the Breakers. New Orleans running back to get 100 this season on 13 carries. First and goal from the 10. Jordan again. Big guy who went to college over in Lake Charles. Keeps on rolling down to the 4.
Well, he takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Number 62 again is Dan Hurley. He gets out in front. He gets a good block from number 25, Mark Schilling. He gets downfield, picks his way. He takes on some people, number 93, Dennis Puha, and he keeps his footing, goes downfield. Now he's inside the 5-yard line.
They mark him down at the 3. They haven't got much time left. They're shifting around, and certainly no time for a checkoff. They get it off, give it to Jordan, sweep right, and he's pinned down. Looks like he has stopped short of the line of scrimmage.
It's a fumble.
Chicago's got it, and the man is on his way, Mike Fox. Fox will score a touchdown for the Chicago Blitz.
There was an official right there on the sideline to make the play if he called it a fumble. He didn't blow the whistle. It's a fumble. He goes the distance, 97 yards for a touchdown. That's the kind of break Chicago needed to stay in this ball game. They stopped New Orleans from scoring a touchdown. They pick up 7 points themselves. They are definitely back in this ball game, 28-23 before the conversion.
Now Jordan takes a wallop here in the first turnover of the ball game. It took him a long time to get up. Right there, he is really popped. Knocked half unconscious, it appeared. He was wobbly. Ball comes loose as after Dennis Puha had hit him, and Mike Fox picks it up and gets an escort down the field, and the Breakers didn't even pursue it.
One of the byproducts, Keith, of being a hard running back, with the officials knowing that you can break tackles, is that when you get hit by 2 or 3 people and it looks like you're going down, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt and not blow the whistle because you could break a tackle. In that case, they waited, didn't blow the whistle. Number 54, Tom Kilkenny comes in, makes the hit, pops the ball loose. Mike Fox picks it up and runs 97 yards for a touchdown.
But Evans is on the field, so they're going for 2.
They're going to go for 2. Take a look again at the hit. Buford Jordan takes it. He's hit there. The ball's being stripped. Number 27, Mike Fox is the man tugging at the arm. He tugs hard enough and it comes loose. He picks it up and he went the distance.
See, he's kind of punchy. Evans pass, good. It's 28-25, making the catch. Mark Keel, number 83, a tight end out of Arizona. And so how fortune seemed to swing so swiftly as the Breakers turn it over. 12:06 to play in this football game as Chicago gets the touchdown off the fumble and the 97-yard run by Mike Fox, and Woodrow Wilson now ready to accept the kickoff of Kevin Seibel. 28-25 ball game, and it's a high-hanging kick. Wilson comes to the 9. Big hole to the sidelines, and penalty flag thrown as he gets to the 25. John Gillen brought him down. Penalties against New Orleans.
Illegal contact.
They call illegal contact. Yeah.
Time to alert too, John.
Go back to the 6.
Who's that on?
Your team, Mr. Corey.
Here's pacing up and down the sidelines.
Illegal block above the waist from behind, number 67 on the return.
Smith and Lockett wide. Jordan lines up at the I-back. It's all right. After being wobbled some in the hit. Ross coming in motion. They go the other way to Lockett, get him out there one-on-one, and Frank can't break it loose. Pretty good open field tackle by Trent Bryant, number 21. And immediately lines up in the wrong spot. There he goes hustling over, given double wide on the same side. And Walton back to throw. Gets some heat on him, and the penalty flag is thrown as he tries to hit Ross on a short one over the middle.
What number was that?
They're going to call.
Holding.
See as Puha is trying to come through there.
Decline.
They call on number 64 as Puha was running by him. He reached out, got him to watch the right-hand side of your screen. Number 64 right there is the guard. Watch as Puha starts to come through. He goes inside. Now watch him. He's got his hand on his back, holding him, trying to keep him from getting to Johnny Walton. Well, he still gets Johnny Walton, and they also get a 10-yard penalty.
It's 3rd down and 7. Walton going for the bundle. And Bryant had a shot at the interception and couldn't come down with it. The offensive man, Lockett, or was it Smith? Smith it was.
He should have come in for that ball, and he might have had it.
Breakers need a big punt now from Casarino. Pressure coming, and he gets it out of there, and it's a good kick. Donnell Daniel backs up to the 35, and down he goes at the 34. Good coverage by New Orleans' David Bale. A 46-yard punt. Good hang time. By 3, football theirs at their own 34. 10:26 to play. Looking for their first win. Vince Evans' pass is caught by Larry Canada, and Canada is hit hard and dropped up around the 37. 2nd down and 7 for Chicago. Swings it out to Canada again. He's got some help, but he can't quite get his first down. He got it to about the 43, maybe the 44. Well, here's the man who made the long run for the touchdown, Mike Fox with Mike Barry.
Keith, he's into the record books with that, but more importantly, you have injected new life into this team. You really smell that first victory.
Yeah, I hope that helps us. I mean, we need a victory here. We're a better team than 0-4. We've been losing a couple close ones on field goals. I don't know. They're pretty much picking the defense apart right now, but he's got a good quarterback back there. And
all right, Mike, the mood down here is electric.
3rd and 1 for the Blitz. Breakers blitzing. Canada booms through there. Got a good block on the left side of the line. Old pro Glenn Hyde gave him the door. First down. Evans loops it downfield. It is caught by Anderson.
On the move!
For a touchdown. A 50-yard touchdown. Vince Evans to Marcus Anderson. A missed tackle, and Anderson got away. So he comes home, the former Greenie, and lays one on the home folks.
Call it a fade, call it a quick takeoff, call it anything you want. It's man-to-man coverage up front by the corner. He's got help deep. Anderson just goes to the outside, a great pass. Now watch, he just stops and allows number 42, Charlie Haberson, to just run by him. Then he turns on the Jets, outdistances the Joe Restick, and gets into the end zone.
28, this extra point is very big. It is up, and it is good. And the Chicago lead now is 4.
A big
32 to 28.
So this Chicago football team on the touchdown, fumble recovery, and now the big bomb. They're on top for the first time. Well, we saw a sign in the stands that said the Breakers are on their way to a 5-0 blitz, but now it's a blitz that come back with a quick offense, a great defensive plays to put themselves on top of this ball game and in command with 8:04 to play.
And Seibel's kick to Wilson. Low bounces past him. Fields is after it. They got to cover it because it was touched. So Wilson trying to come up and field a low kick, couldn't do it.
Their statistics on the scoring drive. that could not get breaks in the ball game, that were 0-4, having been so close on three of those games, now is getting a few breaks its way. Its defense held New Orleans in their own territory, forced them to punt. Now they've got them backed up. The defense might be able to win this ball game for them.
Out of 43,692 now, trying to get the home team moving again. And Johnny Walton out of the end zone. Goes for Luckett. It is no good. And Mike Fox is yelling, I caught it clean. It's an interception. And they say, no way. And here's Mike Berry now.
I'm here now with Marcus Anderson. It's a story of a local lad makes good. You played here right in this field, and you went to Tulane. A big play.
Big play. They played cover 2, short and deep. Vince read it, and he threw it right in the hole.
You got the hometown fans here with you?
Oh, no question. My whole family here. I just like to say, give the praise to the Lord Jesus Christ, who's my Savior.
Right here, he shoots a gap right between the guard and the center and hits the guard just on the side of the helmet, so they call the penalty.
That's the 9th penalty on Chicago for 56 yards, and it makes it 2nd down and 5 now for New Orleans out at the 9. We saw an undefeated team go down last Sunday in Houston. The Generals losing their first. The Breakers are trailing here. Here's a little swing pass out to Mark Chalene, and he is hit from behind and knocked down short of the first down. Jostis getting a piece of that action. 30 for 325 yards. Blitz defense growing with confidence. It's 3rd down and 2, and everybody's up tight. They give it away to Jordan. Jordan trying to get outside. Can't do it. They drop him for a loss at the 10. And they have 9 people up on that line of scrimmage.
At the bottom of the screen, watch him spread as number 87, tight end, goes in motion. And watch, he takes on the running back here, goes upfield, finds Jordan, hits him low, brings him down for a loss.
Chicago will have good field position as Casarino punts and did not get all of it. Coming in a hurry is Daniel. He cannot get to it. The ball kicks out of bounds. They weren't even in the game in the first quarter. But starting with the second quarter, they let it go, and they've had some luck here in the fourth quarter. Luck they made themselves, mind you. Crowd is hooting as Chicago goes to work from the 49, and Vince Evans hits Chris Haynes down on the 44 of New Orleans for about a 7-yard pickup.
Well, right now with those feelings high, number 20, Woodrow Wilson finds himself in bad position on his back on the Chicago Blitz sideline.
Evans almost fumbled the ball, was late getting the handoff away, and it's virtually no gain on the carry by Larry Canada.
The fans here, all 43,000 of them, yelling now as the sound echoes off the walls inside the dome, trying to get some spirit, some fight back into their defensive team. Of course, that defensive line has a little motto. They say, just put the ball down, which means they don't care whether it's inside the 20. And right now, they've got a big pass. It's 3rd down and 4 with the Chicago Blitz ahead by 4 points.
Harbison blitzing, they go the other way. Canada can't hold on to the swing pass. It's incomplete. And it brings up 4th down, and the Blitz will have to kick it.
Again, the burden is now falling back to that Chicago defense, and that's where they've lost those other games late in the ball game.
Bassett to punt. Beautiful high kick. Chicago's down to cover it. Oh, it bounced off the Chicago man into the end zone.
Oh, here we'll look at it. He has a great chance of catching his punt, downing it on the 1-yard line. He just lets the ball get back over his right shoulder. He can't hang on to it, and it bounces ever so gently.
Jacksonville beat up by the Breakers last week, fighting back this week out on the West Coast. And it's 1st down New Orleans. Walton back to throw. Little short pass over the middle to Jordan. Penalty flag is thrown. Look out for New Orleans getting hit with another holding call right here.
Outside the defense.
right defensive end's offside.
Oh, it's offside. It's called against Chicago.
Bruce Thornton tried to get a jump on the snap.
Offside, 79 in the defense.
And it looked pretty close. Very close call to make.
He was good out to the 30 for a first down, so New Orleans disdains the penalty, choosing to keep the play. Marcus Dupree, sore hamstring, not going to play. Jordan having a big day. Walton gives it to him again. He's got two blockers in front of him. Oh, look at this. Virgil Livers is the man that stopped him, runs him down on the Chicago 48.
He is not the fastest man in the world, but once he gets downfield, he knows how to use his blockers. He knows how to run the field. Here he goes down on the right side, reverses field. Look at all the people that miss. One-handed tackles until Virgil Livers comes over, tries to strip him of the football, almost does it, and makes the tackle.
First down, New Orleans, Chicago 48. Walton back, swings it out to Chalene this time. Chalene's out there by himself. Oh, what a headbutting exercise that was. And there's a penalty flag thrown back by, you may have a rough in the quarterback
It
ball.
is going to be roughing the passer against number 79, Bruce Thornton. He came in, the ball was clearly out of the hands of Johnny Walton.
So there's a very big swing as the ball is advanced to the 27 of Chicago, the 10th penalty.
You saw that sign, it says Blue Thunder. If the New Orleans Breakers score and win this ball game, Chicago will think it's thunder, lightning, and a rainstorm, and a snowstorm have come on to beat them in the last minutes of 4 ball games.
That's Jordan. Buford Jordan takes it down to the 13. First down, New Orleans.
Two minutes and 48 seconds, counting down. The Breakers on another drive.
Walton back. His pass is knocked away by Mike Fox. He had a good chance at an interception. On second down and 10, they give the ball to Jordan, and Jordan is hit. Won't go down. They finally string him out of bounds at the 10-yard line, just inside the 10. Double wide to the top. Walton looks that way, fires into the end zone. Touchdown, Charlie Smith.
Number 85, Charlie Smith, 6 years for the Philadelphia Eagles, out of Grambling University, comes up with a big catch with 1 minute and 52 seconds on the clock to give the New Orleans Breakers the lead back here late in the fourth quarter of this tremendous ball game.
And Walton threw a bullet right between two defenders.
We saw Walton throw a bullet like that deflected off a receiver, and Frank Lockett caught the pass in a big upset last year against Philadelphia. This time, right to Charlie for the score. Tim Mazzetti puts the extra point through for the conversion. They now have the lead in this ball game by 3. We'll take another look. Johnny Walton, he has been tremendous throughout the day. He said that the offense of New Orleans would have to continue putting points on the board because the Chicago Blitz are capable of scoring at any time. Here he zips it high to Charlie Smith. He goes up in front of Virgil Livers, makes a good catch, uses his entire body because the ball had steam on it to bring it down into the end zone for the score.
Just missed.
Just missed being tipped, but just missed for the Chicago Blitz means they now trail again in the fourth period on the late score by the opposition.
There's 1 minute 52 to play.
That's right.
Chicago can move that football. They trail by 3. Field goal will tie it, send it to overtime. Chicago trying to win its first, and they're giving the Breakers all they want today in the dome. Mazzetti, they kick it off. Glenn Ford to return it for Chicago. High, long kick to Ford at the 6. To the 25.
I'll
pressure drive. You had to do it. You came through, and your offensive line was doing a job.
They did a great job. Jordan came back from a big turnover, and he just stuck in there. You know, it's a game of adversities, and we just got our momentum shift, and, hey, we got the job done.
You've got to give credit to Chicago. Nobody expected them to play you this tight.
We did. We knew that they were explosive offense, and we just knew we had to score more points than they have. Hopefully they won't score any more.
All right, Johnny, a big day, and it's not over yet.
Call it the 26 for the Blitz, and Evans back to throw. Whips one to the sidelines. Good to Haynes, and Chris Haynes is out of bounds up at the 34. He'll need 2 more for a first down.
Well, they're going to have to keep the ball close to the sidelines, try and eat up the clock by getting out of bounds.
Second down and 2 for the Blitz. Evans gives the ball to Larry Canada. Canada comes around the corner, and that stops the clock at 1:30. Seibel is capable under 50 yards. But first, Vince Evans has got to give him a chance. And the ball is sitting now at the 39 of Chicago, first down. 1:34 to play. With all the timeout left for Chicago.
With all the passing in this ball game on offense, it's been a well-played game. There's only been 1 turnover, and that cost the New Orleans Breakers a touchdown.
Evans passes away to the sidelines. It is caught. It is good at the 44 of New Orleans by Chris Haynes.
Chris Haynes, he's made a couple of great catches on the sideline today. That time he just drives the coverage deep off of him. He stays on that sideline. Watch Vince Evans. He's under pressure. Gets that ball away under pressure. He's got a lot of zip on it. Haynes, good catch. Keeps both those feet in bounds right in front of Woodrow.
Chicago working. Evans shouting over the crowd. Chicago man Anderson was gone too soon. Couldn't hear the count. Ball is thrown to Jim Stone. Stone is knocked out of bounds. But Marcus Anderson could not hear the snap count, and he left too soon.
80 White.
In an enclosed stadium.
He was across the line.
And it is first and 15 for the Blitz. Canada is back in. Evans will put it up. Oh, you run it for all he can get. And he goes to the 35, and he is a yard short of the first down.
Back for the Chicago Bears.
Second down and 2. Evans' pass is good. Pass caught by Gary Lewis. First down. The ball is at the New Orleans 23. Clock stopping as the chains are moved. Clock rolling now as Evans drops the throw. Whips it down the middle. Incomplete. Penalty flag.
Blue defensive passing.
Joe Resnick,
number 36. And the fans here in New Orleans, all 43,000 of them, seem to be in a little disagreement with the officials. They yell out their disappointment.
If they can't win it, they've got a timeout to kill the clock and go for a field goal, and certainly they are now within range.
That was a pretty chancy pass for Vince Evans to throw. He had Resnick there, he had Lindell Jones, everyone coming across, but he throws so hard.
40 seconds to play. Crowd making it as difficult as possible for the Blitz. It is Canada on a sweep right, and he is caught by Harbison, but the big guy, 235 pounds, takes it down to the 9. 19, 18, 17, Evans back. Runs it up the middle. Tackled on the 10, 12, 10, 11. New Orleans making some last-second defensive changes here. Anderson comes wide right to the bottom of the picture. Second down. Clock running. Evans back to look. The throw. Gets his pass away. It's intercepted. It's not intercepted. It is dropped by number 59, Ben Needham. A desperation pass by Evans. Step is good. The hold is good. The kick is high. The kick is good. And it's even.
And it's overtime. Ben Needham almost interception. Evans throwing sidearm. Desperation. Probably should have just thrown it out of bounds, but instead he throws it to Needham. Needham probably saw victory on that football, but then lost it on the spin, drops it.
In the ball game, then you got 3 minutes to go to the side and talk over there. All right, red is the head, tail is the tail. Your call. What do you call it? Heads he's calling. It is a tail. You have a choice.
New Orleans gets the football.
You want the ball? Which goes?
So the New Orleans Breakers will get the football in the overtime, and we will be back with our sudden death action after a word from our local. The kickoff by Seibel to Woodrow Wilson at the 5. Whoa, he's cut down short of the 20. They nailed him at the 17. Now, as you see the stats for the ball game, and
915 total yards in this ball game. Look at those statistics. 3 minutes, just about 3 minutes separate the teams in time of possession. Offensive showcase today.
Jordan and Shalene line up behind Walton. And they give the ball to Buford. Jordan, he pops it out of there. Having a big day. First down, across the 30. He picked up. Well, they put him where? At the 31, just over the 30. So he moved it for 13 plus on that carry before Armstead brought him down. Big day for Buford.
135 yards in the day.
Ross is out of there right now with Bale in, the tight end. Overtime. 35-35. Little swing pass out to Buford. Jordan gets some help. Gets away. Goes to the 36. Close to the 37. Second down and 4. Steals is in. Are they going to throw it? Dump it over the middle to Steals, and he can't hold on to it. He was hot-fingering it all the way through there, and finally enough Chicago Blitz people got around and knocked the ball loose.
Pop it loose, or worse, pick it off, and this time Chicago had a chance to do both, and they were only able to get one. He's bobbling it there, and watch as he's hit. The ball is up in the air. Lockett blocks it, but blocks the view there, but Chicago had a chance to pick it off.
Third down now and 4. A little different flavor here. There's the first down to Ross. Dan Ross, the tight end, got just far enough upfield with it to about the 42, and New Orleans will keep it. First down. Jordan is back in now in the backfield with Shalene. They're double wide to the bottom of the picture. And Walton's going to throw. He swings it out to Jordan. Jordan looking for some help. Fumbles the football and dives on it and keeps it. Both teams are just skating on the edge of disaster.
But so far, it's just been one fumble that did cost the Breakers a touchdown. As Jordan gets the ball, he's on the outside. He has 2 blockers coming from his inside. At any moment, you can expect him to stop and cut back as he did here, but the ball was out there loose. No one hit it. He just lost control over it, over the football, lost it.
Walton's pass almost picked off, penalty flag. Number 22, Donnell Daniel, came flying across in front of Charlie Smith. And I'll tell you, Walton is lucky to get that one back. Let's see about the penalty now.
Offsides, number 82 on the offense.
Walton again with no pressure. The sideline pass is a leaping, diving catch. Good inside the 45 by Marion Brown. He makes a mistake, breaking offside, and then comes back with a spectacular play.
I've got to look at this to see where this kid's feet come down because he was in the air, laid down on this catch. And watch him, he stretches, makes a catch. Oh, that's a close one, folks. I don't know. I saw what amounts to be just an elbow barely come down.
Oh, his thigh hit.
His thigh hit?
Yes. Whatever, it's a first down inside the 45 for New Orleans as Walton sets up to go deep for Lockett. He's got it. Touchdown. New Orleans wins it and stays undefeated in overtime, beating the Chicago Blitz.
A jubilant victory. Last week, Frank Lockett caught passes, 9 passes for 225 yards at the end of the first half in this ball game with 1 second on the clock. tremendous leaping catch for 57 yards. And now in overtime, Frank Lockett comes through once again over number 47, Charles Armstead, for the game-winning touchdown as he is mobbed by his teammates and Captain Breaker draped in his silver sequin cape. Johnny Walton, the man who threw the pass, has been remarkable all day long.
29 out of 43, 440 yards is a new USFL record, and he threw for 4 touchdowns.
Johnny Walton, he has been pulling the big plays out. His receivers have come through. Dan Ross has been making the clutch catches all day long. Charlie Smith, a big catch for a touchdown. And now Frank Lockett, another big catch. This time the icing on the cake. He pulls it into the end zone for a touchdown. He is a game-breaking receiver that you'd want on your football team anytime. Out in Nebraska, the young kid is built more like a linebacker. He is the strongest looking receiver I've seen in the USFL so far. Just outdistanced the players. Let's go down to the field right now to Mike Barrett.
I'm here right in the midst of this, down here in the end zone. The excitement continues here. Dick Corey, did you believe it ever come to something like this?
No, I really didn't. I'll tell you, my son, who's a receiver coach, called that play. I thought it was a bad call. I really did. We're just moving the ball down for field goal range. He said he can get him. Frank did a great job. He's a big play receiver, playing any team in any league.
Frank Lockett, you're an exciting man. Now you've caught passes. You caught one just here to win the ball game. You caught one at the end of the first half. Some kind of afternoon.
Thank you. I thank God I got an opportunity to catch the ball today, and thank God that we won.
Tell me about the play now. You looked like you had a stutter step in there, and then you took off.
Well, it was a hook and go. And I tried to freeze the cornerback, and I turned around, and I froze him, and I ran right by him.
Did you think Chicago coach would give you this kind of a battle? They played it tough right down to the wire.
I really did, because I told the team all week they could have easily been 3-1. Marv does a great job with that team, and it's too bad they've played some tough luck, including this one. We've been very fortunate to win this game. They're a good football team, Mike.
Frank Lockett, tell me about the key to your success with Johnny Walton. You two guys look like you're on the same wavelength all the time.
Well, last year I came in, first year pro. Johnny, was kind of doubtful about me because I was confused about the offense. Now I got my head together, I'm concentrating, my attitude is great. So Johnny have a lot of confidence in me.
Coach Corey, have you ever been more proud of this team than right now?
This bunch makes you proud every time they go on the field. Great bunch of guys, great bunch of assistant coaches, and a great owner has given us some football players.
All right, Dick Corey, Frank Lockett, of course, a big day for Johnny Walton. Take care, Coach. That's the story from down here. It's excitement and Mardi Gras back upstairs.
All right, so the Michigan Panthers now, the other undefeated team in the USFL, they have to go in and play the Houston Gamblers at the Astrodome tomorrow night. And that could prove to be quite a struggle, but the story here, of course, is that the New Orleans Breakers are now 5-0, and they had to go into overtime, and well into overtime, 3 minutes of it, just about, in order to win by a score of 41-35.
And the remarkable story is the emergence of Frank Lockett, who's come in because of Nolan Franz, who was out with a bad ankle last week. 9 catches, 225 yards, and 2 touchdowns this week. 5 catches, 156, and 1 touchdown.
Final score, 41-35, New Orleans.